Hello, sobrinhos e sobrinhas fofurinhas da titia, sejam todos muito bem-vindos. Eu sou a Marcela Miranda, a tia do inglês, e para esse vídeo você vai treinar o seu listening e também aprender um pouco mais sobre as eleições americanas, e para isso eu pedi a ajuda de um professor lá no Cambly. Se você quer também assistir uma aula por lá, interagindo com nativos, tem um link com um código promocional que eu vou deixar aqui embaixo para você também experimentar essa aula gratuitamente. Eu tenho certeza que você vai se apaixonar, assim como eu sou apaixonada pelo Cambly. Hello there, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Oh.
Becky, before we start, let me just explain you the reason I'm doing this video. Well,
Okay.
I'm shooting this video because I'm also an ESL tutor and I teach online for YouTube. And I want to tell my students and explain to them how the presidential elections work in the USA. So that you'd help me understand, and then they could do some listening activity, just listening to you and to our conversation. Is that okay for you?
Okay. Yes, that's fine with me.
Okay. Awesome.
Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Okay.
We are actually having elections, but not presidential ones this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that the process is really different, right? So the first thing I would ask you is it compulsory, everybody has to vote, or does it work like this?
Everyone doesn't have to vote.
Okay.
That's a choice. You do have to register. If you're going to vote, you have to register to vote. If you don't register to vote, you can't vote.
Okay. But being like that, is that so that the majority of people go, or most people just are not interested in politics and they just not go?
This presidential election will be a very big turnout. We will have a lot of people that vote. Now, there will be a lot that don't vote, but we will have a large percentage of people that vote. Now, our voting system is not by popular vote. It's by electoral votes, which each state has a certain number of electoral votes.
Okay, I get it. This is exactly the process that I really want to understand, because in Brazil, first of all, we vote electronically, so it's like a machine that counts our vote.
Yes.
And it's popular vote. First of all, compulsory, and second of all, the biggest number of voters, when the election. That would be it. So I understand that it's not the point, right? If you have like a lot of people, like in terms of number, voting for one president, he may not be elected.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you count that?
The electoral vote it's based on the number of delegates in each state.
Okay.
So, for instance, some of our big, like Pennsylvania, they have a lot of delegates. So there are a lot of electoral votes. And Florida and California and some of those states have more electoral votes because they have more delegates. So if I'm running for president, I want to win those states. I want to win those states and get those electoral votes, because you have to have a certain number of electoral votes in order to win the state.
Okay, I get it. I guess it's simpler in a way, but much more complicated in another.
It is. Because I don't even, I can't tell you how many electoral votes each state has. Now, I could Google it and tell you, but, it's simple, but it's complicated.
Okay. Normally, when we go vote, we vote electronically, as I said to you. But how does that work? Do you vote like on ballots? Do you have electronic voting? How does that work you go to schools, right, to vote?
We go to there are different locations. And of course, this year with the COVID-19, it's a little different even this year because there aren't as many places to go vote. Each area of the city that you live in has a certain place. Like I have to precinct is what it's called. So my precinct is precinct number 41. So I have to go to, it's actually at a church, and I have to go to that place to vote. And it's electronic. We go into a little booth and we do our voting, and then we put it in the machine and it counts our vote accordingly.
Okay, awesome. And do you have volunteers waiting for you to vote, or people just get called in by the government?
They're not volunteers. They volunteer to do it, but they get paid for doing it.
Oh, yeah, really? Yes. Here it's compulsory. We got to go. And if you don't go, you have to pay your fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's what it is here for when you have to serve on a jury. If you have to go to court to serve on a jury trial, if you get notification, you have to go. But for the election process, to be an election worker, you say, okay, I would like to do that. And then you have training. You have to learn how to do it, what all's involved. And then you go that day and you get paid for your hours of work.
Okay, that's interesting. So now I'm going to ask you something more on a personal level. Okay. Do you think that this is fair? It's more fair or fairer to be volunteer or to be compulsory like it is in Brazil?
Now, if in Brazil, do you have to go for training? Do you have before you can go to work? Do they train you to do something?
They actually do. Actually, from my experience, what I've heard, I've never been called, thank God. Mm-hmm. But from what I've heard, they call in the same people a lot of times, you know. So, yeah, if you go 1 year, maybe 4 or 5 times, you'll be called in. But you do get training, and you do not get paid for it. What you can get is a leave from work on the following day, so that you can, just chill at home and relax from working. That's all you get. Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with it being that way. It's I think that that you're going to have workers like you do it because they're required to do it. Now this year with the COVID-19, there were less people that wanted to work the polls.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So I think they were having trouble getting enough workers. And that's probably why they decreased the number of voting places also, because they had fewer workers wanting to work.
Gosh. And how are they going to organize that? Because maybe people will be in line or,
I think what they will do is there's lots of room where they can social distance, but they will probably take everyone's temperature as they come in. They will only let so many in the building at a time. Everybody else will probably stand outside in line where it's safer. Masks, I'm sure, will be required. But it will be social distancing, and it will be watched closely. Surely. That's awesome. Thank you so much for helping me understand, because it's really different from what we have here. Mm-hmm. And I hope I didn't ask you because I think that would be rude, but I'm not going to ask you who you want to win, but I hope that your candidate wins. Okay. I wouldn't mind telling you at all. And I hope he does too.
Thank you so much. As soon as this video is ready, I'm going to link it down below for you. E é isso aí, pessoal. Espero que vocês tenham curtido esse vídeo tanto quanto eu. Também aprendi um monte de coisa, afinal de contas. Eu não entendia muito também sobre esse processo das eleições, então foi um ótimo aprendizado, além de você também testar o seu listening. Não esquece que eu deixei um cupom aqui embaixo para você experimentar o Cambly também.